The main objective of my study is to explore the lived experiences of women entrepreneurs involved in startups in Nepal. For this study, I have gone through almost 30 literatures. I have also found some relevant theories going through the literature. So they are entrepreneurship theory, role comparative theory. I have employed qualitative resource design, of course, and for that, interpretivist resource paradigm has been used. The resource design is Heidegger's interpretive phenomenology. I have chosen the study area of Kathmandu district because Kathmandu is the economic hub of Nepal with the highest number of registered companies, around 1,71,400 as per the registrar office data. Also, I have selected the area because Kathmandu attracts many entrepreneurs, particularly young women. For the selection of participants, I have used purposive sampling method and I have selected 7 women startup founders from diverse business types. The data was collected through semi-structured questionnaires and interviews were audio recorded. So data analysis was done with the help of, guided by Kate Smith IPA 7-step framework. The major findings of my research are women entrepreneurs in Nepal are primarily motivated by self or desire to be independent and purpose of not following the traditional method of doing job in other companies. So they demonstrate high adaptability despite facing significant resource constraints. Women entrepreneurship play a vital role in empowering other women within the communities. This is seen through my study. So gender-related barriers still persist, but particularly in balancing family and work commitment. Women entrepreneurs contribute to both economic value creation and social change in Nepal. So some of the unique findings I have from my study are many participants reported that positive familial support is found, which is contrast to earlier studies indicating a lack of support.
Dear scholars, a very good morning to you all. It is a great honor for me to stand here to share my research work as a part of this academic symposium. I am Ayushma Pokhrel. I will be presenting my research titled Farming Women's Participation in Community-Based Cooperatives, a Study of Surya Municipality. Large-scale male migration of generation in latest decades has led to a feminization of agriculture, with women increasingly taking on agricultural as well as household responsibilities. So while cooperatives are often celebrated as tools for economic empowerment or empowerment of women, existing evaluations tend to rely heavily on quantitative indicators such as income levels, number of members, or loan disbursement data. However, these metrics fail to capture the nuanced as well as lived experiences of women, particularly in rural family communities. My primary objective is to explore the lived experiences of farming women in Nepal, specifically in Surya Municipality, regarding empowerment through their involvement in community-based cooperatives. My literature review is structured into 4 key thematic areas reflecting both national as well as international research on women's participation in cooperatives. My study adopts a qualitative method, and within the qualitative method, this research employs IPA research design, interpretivist phenomenological approach, which basically aims to explore how individuals experience a particular phenomena and derive meaning from it. In my case, empowerment through cooperative participation. I took a sample of 10 participants for data saturation while maintaining the depth and manageability of the data, as it is considered adequate for qualitative study among homogeneous group of participants as per Sandelowski 1995. And for data collection methods, data were collected using semi-structured in-depth interviews which provided flexibility to participants. Interviews were collected physically depending upon participant availability and location. Interviews were conducted in Nepali, the participants' native language, so that they could express themselves more comfortably and later transcribed into English. All interviews were audio recorded for accuracy and later transcribed verbatim as per Creswell 2013. And for data analysis method, since my method is IPA, I followed the 7-step IPA framework which was developed or proposed by Smith. The major findings were loan access enables independence from informal lenders and investment in livestock as well as agriculture. However, there is a limited market support. Women often sell productive or products individually via middlemen, reducing profits, which falls into economic impact and market inclusion theme. Second one was women reported increased self-confidence through their involvement in cooperatives, financial autonomy and participation in household decisions, yet many pursue, they were hesitant to pursue leadership, citing lack of education or confidence. Similarly, male dominance persists even in women-majority cooperatives. Land ownership is often in men's name, restricting access to formal support or training. And last one is, though the support from NGOs and government was there, it was irregular and inconsistent. Trainings were often underutilized due to lack of follow-up or application mechanisms. These findings confirm much of the existing literature regarding the potential of cooperatives to empower women economically and socially. However, this study also exposes gaps in actual practice, particularly regarding market access, leadership, land rights, and consistency in political support. Effectiveness is largely dependent on how inclusive, how participatory, and accountable these institutions are in practice, just not in policy or intention. Meaningful empowerment requires cooperatives to listen to women's voices, not just count their membership. Thank you, everyone.
I'm Ika Chan. My topic is exploring the experience of female leaders in male-dominated banking industries of Nepal. The major issues of my study is Nepal Constitution mandates 33% of representation of women in all state bodies, including parliament, local government, and public institutions. These mandates are also reflected in HR policies of banking sector. Despite increasing entry-level participation of women in Nepalese banking industry, very few rises to senior leadership position. So this is the major issue in my study. The banking sector in Nepal remains male-dominated, particularly in the senior level. As per the data of IFC 2024, though women form 42% of the workforce, but only 23% of them are in the senior management position. Globally and in Nepal, studies on experience of women leaders, particularly in banking sectors, is limited with the studies done intermittently. I reviewed around 37 literatures, and among them, few I found really relevant to my study. I took a transformational leadership theory. The next theory that I took in consideration was role continuity theory. Another theory I took in consideration was a social capital theory. I also took the concept of the glass ceiling effect. There was a modern feminism perspective that emerged inductively in my research. The research design that I use, the approach, I use qualitative phenomenological approach. Like my friends, I also use interpretative phenomenological analysis. The steps has already been discussed. My study area was the banking sectors of Nepal. The participants, I took 8 senior level female leaders from various banks of Nepal. For the data collection, I used semi-structured interview, and regarding the analysis, again, I used IPA 7-step process, and I developed PET, which is personal experiential theme, and GET, which is group experiential theme, for generating the findings. Findings of my study are as per the GETs, which were generated by synthesis of the PETs. The 6 themes were developed, and now I'm going to explain my finding based on those themes. The first theme is leadership identity is contextual and evolving. Women uses a situational leadership, mostly participative and empathetic, but also directive when needed. The next theme is proving dual role. Proving role is continuous battle for the women. As per my study, there was a constant need for the woman to outperform their male counterpart in the organization. The next theme was balancing a dual role is constant and unequal. As for my study, managing home and office simultaneously is emotional and physically exhausting, but not same for all women, as all women doesn't feel same thing as per my study. So next theme next finding that it was generated was gender access to the network. As for my study, the female has the exclusion from male-dominated informal space. The next theme that was developed was support system that varies a lot. As per my study, there is a support system for all the women, and the support system definitely helps. That is the familial organization or all the support system that definitely help, but it is inconsistent and varies across the organization for several women. And finally, the theme that was generated was personal initiative drive that changes more than policy. And this was very interesting to note for me. As per my study, most of the women responded that the self-drive and confidence emerge as strong forces than the policy for the career advancement. And internal barriers like self-doubt and hesitation constrains the leadership rather than the policy. I note that women adjust the leadership style contextually rather than following a fixed pattern, and it is adaptive, which is shaped by their experience as being women, and which studies the female leadership from the lens of feminist perspective, because they reveal that so many things that are not understood by the male in the organization, which can only be understood by the female. So female leaders are therefore needed in the organization. So by the lens of feminist perspective, the leadership is shown, is unique in my study. And the next uniqueness in my study is it highlights the internal barriers that is created by women themselves, like self-doubt and hesitation, which alongside with the external barriers also they have. And next uniqueness of my study is it's also aligned with the postmodern feminism, revealing that not all women face same constraints. And finally, my study is unique because no prior Nepal-based IPA research in these sectors has been performed yet. So, female leadership is adaptive, rooted in participation, empathy, and resilience. Barriers are multi-layered, cultural norms, organization bias, and also a personal belief. Despite the formal support, informal network, and self-perception remain the major challenge. Future research can explore the main perception in leadership about women and a comparative leadership experience. A study can be done between male and female.
It's me, I'm Maya Dapur, presenting the research topic on the female leadership in driving sustainable competitive advantage in the country. Women who have a limited access to workplace resources and considered less important personal for the financial decisions making and strategic planning. I decided to explore the leadership trait and the strategy that the successful female leaders are exercising in their organizations to gain the competitive advantage and to sustain their organization for a long-term period. As a researcher, it aimed to explore the subjective experience or the life experience for the contextual meanings and the leadership trait and the strategic employees behind female leadership role in sustainable and competitive advantage. For this, I used an interpretive paradigm using the IPA research design. I selected 5 homogeneous participants from 5 heterogeneous organizations in the country. And the participants are selected by using the purposive sampling, especially the successful women leaders who are running their organizations, and use the semi-structural interviews to get and deep information and the detailed information regarding the leadership trait and their experience as well. The interviews were lasting between the 16 to 30 minutes, and the entire interviews were recorded with the consent with the participants. I employed 7 steps. I got different findings that most of the business female leaders are considering the value-based leadership on the basis of the requirement and the size and the natures of the organization. and the systematic and social failures. These are the two failures. They are facing largely strategic, human-centric leadership, collaborative financial government, and the work-life integrations are the major findings and the positive aspects that present identified through the analysis. And in conclusion, most of the business organizations or the leader in the Kathmandu cities are facing the different kinds of barriers, such as systematic and the social barrier, as well as the gender inequality, even though they are struggling for striving their organizations or to gain the competitive advantage as well. And some of the business organizations, some of the female leaders are also using their proactive crisis responsibility strategy, and on the basis of the requirement of the business organization, they follow the different kinds of leadership style, as well as they also believe that the transformative empowerment is also the main aspect which helps to lead the business organizations towards the success as well. The outcomes of the research will be beneficial for the struggling female leaders who are trying to enter into the market and still not able to gain the competitive advantage, and who are often facing the barriers and the problems. Future research can be conducted by considering the annual variables.
And thank all the wonderful presenters. This has definitely been a good start to the symposium, and it has definitely provided a lot of insights in the topic and domain of female leadership and entrepreneurship. And the presentation ranged from area covering startups, banking, private sector, and even rural cooperatives. So with that, the common underlying theme across all of these, as we could notice, for those who utilize other approaches, is the IPA, right? Most of the common themes that came around were around barriers, around economic, social, and then constraints around individual, organization, and personal factors. So that was something commonly occurring across four of your studies.
Thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this first session. Very quite interesting, insightful presentations. Then my master's thesis was supervised by Professor Vijay Kisi. I didn't know what is the method, right? And then my supervisor as well as professor in Tirupati University told me this is case study. Then I collected 10 years intensive financial statement, this sheet for each year. I work a lot. One point I was shocked, the sales figure was growing up. At the same time, losses are also growing up. I checked all these financial data and found that raw material itself is growing rapidly than the sales figure in quantity terms. Surprise. Quantity data didn't answer me. How did I get the data? I didn't know what is quality. I interviewed with these people. I stayed there all day. I found the underlying causes is some of the cobbler's wife has run away from their home. कोहीको दाजुभाइसँग झगडा, कसैको दिउँसै रोजगार गर्न आउने, all these are found out. I started to work with the ORG marketing research agency, East Nielsen's. Nielsen quantitative survey gardening, then you have to also do in-depth interview. So the income because it's difficult to believe on the quantitative findings, then you must do in-depth study. I am sorry to listen to some person, qualitative versus quantitative. If you want to change, we are in management, right? Research theory. Our prime concern is to change the business for improvement. All the theory starts from quantitative, just as a phase by phase. Again, pieces are level is a theory is permanent. Personality, team of collaborator, piece of theory. Successful entrepreneur situational layout for followers. त्यो theory use गर्नुपर्छ यसमा अब जब मेल डोमिनेटेड ब्याङ्किङमा फिमेलको लिडर्स भयो भने आई थिङ्क मेललाई पनि छोडेको छ कि छैन भन्ने चाहियो कि मेल किन साह्रो हुन्छ मलाई मात्र छोडेर हुन्छ र फिमेललाई जोड्नु पर्दैन सस्टेनेबल कम्पिटेटिभ एडभान्टेज लास्ट राइट then I want something the definition of sustainable competitive advantage very popular in strategic management the unique non-imitable community based cooperatives women participation because women participations are affected not only by male or female त्यसको पोलिसीहरु हुन्छ के डकुमेन्टहरु रेगुलेसनहरु हुन्छ मेन कोअपरेटिभले डिजाइन गरेको कोअपरेटिभ चलाउने त्यो पुरा रेगुलेसन आर्टिकल अफ एसोसिएसन नियमावली के हुन्छ नि त्यो स्टडी नगरिने कम्प्लिटै हुँदैन
With this, we would like to thank once again the presenters, session chair, and even the participants for remaining so calm and so attentive so far. I hope this is the case for the entire day today. Thank you once again, Kavindra sir.